welcome back to the Market Made channel. Thanks for tuning back in. Today I'm going to be going over kitchen storage and organization creative solutions. I have some DIY projects that I've actually been working on for my own kitchen renovation, and I'm going to only go over a few of the things I worked on because our kitchen renovation is not completed yet because of the countertops and we're still getting in appliances. I want to go over a little bit about what's going on with our kitchen in our downstairs area. We don't actually have any like closet space. We don't have a pantry. It really makes storage and organization very difficult, especially for larger items like brooms, Swiffers. But I'm gonna go over some of the really creative solutions I've come up with so far that I think you're gonna really like, and also go over some design features that I've included into my cabinets, and I've actually installed them and made them myself. It might seem intimidating if you have no previous experience with crafting, construction, or any of these types of DIY projects, that you will be able to do this. After you watch the step-by-step process, I think you'll have enough confidence to really execute these projects. And I do think they'll go a long way with helping you keep your space organized and have more effective storage. So without further ado, let's get to it. For tea storage, I found these petite wire baskets at the Dollar Tree. So all in all, this project only cost me $6 and some change. I couldn't figure out exactly where to put them. But you see, I wanted them to fit in the drawer, but they were slightly too large. I decided to bend two by hand just a little bit to make them fit. If you don't want to do it by hand because it looks a little sloppy, I get it. You could also use pliers to bend it, or maybe a wire cutter to take off one of the sides. After this, I took the white twist ties on the packaging and connected them together. You could use any type of wire twist tie though if you didn't want to use that, or you could even glue them together. This way they won't move around too much, tip or flip over, because they did do that as you can see in the video a little bit. If you want a more permanent solution, you could get strips of wood and glue them inside the drawer, or take accurate measurements to purchase a drawer organizer. Personally, I wanted a more temporary solution in case we change our organization as we get used to this new kitchen layout. For $6, I think it looks great, and I like that I can see exactly what I have to choose from. First of all, pardon no countertops. It's a little messy because I've been organizing. As I was trying to figure out what to do with this corner, because you can sort of tell it's hard to get back in there, what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna put a drawer in here, right back here, and I'm going to slide it so we don't have to reach in too far. The sliding internal drawer I'm going to be installing into my blind cabinet will work like a regular cabinet drawer and consist of a bottom board of plywood, two sides and a backing but no front to it, and a $5 cabinet drawer slide hardware set, along with a filler piece, which I'll show you later in the video. I purchased all these items for only $16.17. I already had the supplies like the E6000 adhesive, wood glue, Gorilla Glue, sandpaper, electric handsaw, tape measure, Carpenter's Carpenter's pencil for marking measurements, clear coat urethane, and some scrap material you'll be introduced to later. You'll need to cut the pieces to size though and sand it thoroughly to ensure you will not get splinters in the future when you're using it. It'd be wise to also add a clear coat on it to seal it, depending on what you're going to be storing, whether it's going to be like liquids, and also to prevent from splinters once again, because splinters are a thing. Once everything is cut, sanded, and sealed, I created a filler piece out of 2x4 and extra plywood that I had. Glued the pieces together and pre-drilled the holes, which I will show you in one of the following clips. After this, I glued the frame together with the finished and smoother surfaces facing the inside rather than the outside, because that's where you're going to get the most contact. After 30 to 40 minutes after gluing that frame, it was stable to the touch, but it does need a full 24 hours, even up to 72 hours to adhere. After this, I was planning on nail gunning the pieces together, but you'll see the issue that came up in the next clip. So I sort of messed up my project already. I didn't take into consideration really the size of this, and this already barely fits, and I didn't want it to be too small, so I overcompensated and made it too large. Because when you put this in, I mean, it's going to take up way too much space, and I do think that the material is actually a little bit too thin for it, so luckily I glued it, so I'll probably be able just to remove these side pieces and put like something a little bit thicker in, and then be able to cut this down. So I deconstructed this, and luckily it was pretty easy because I just glued it on. So I have to pick off this glue. I'm actually going to use this for something else, and I will show you that in just a second. I actually ended up not having to go to the store to get wood. I am going to use these old pieces. This was supposed to be part of a behind the toilet storage. So I'm going to cut this in half and use this for the siding, and I'm going to use this for the back because I think this will add a little bit of like a cuteness in the decor, even though it's inside. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these down, make sure they're correct. I'm going to trim up this board a little bit to ensure that it fits appropriately, and I'm going to get started on that. But now I'm going to take the E6000 and I'm going to glue this piece and then these two pieces like this. So I think it'll look pretty fresh. So to secure this a little bit more, I'm actually going to drill and put in some screws on the sides and then secure the back of it as well. So for my blind corner, you can see there's a gap here where I had to switch signs, the drawer and the cabinet door. So what I did is create sort of like a little splint. I glued an extra little piece of particle board on the back of this, and then I'm going to drill these into the side like this, but obviously down there, but I can't really reach it that well. So that way the hardware has something to attach to versus just attaching directly onto the particle board. So this internal drawer is ready to be installed. You pretty much just have to follow the directions for the hardware at this point, and you should be good to go. All right, guys, the moment of truth. Let's see if this fits. Fingers crossed. Oops. Okay, I need both hands. Well, guys, it fits. Unfortunately, for some reason, I don't know why, it is stuck. I don't know why it's stuck. A lot of effort. It didn't fit right away, and it was because of how I had the screws. So it was slightly turning it. So it was a little difficult to figure out, but it works. The only modification I'm going to do is probably add some hardware right here. So that way it's easier to pull versus like grabbing here or grabbing here. But I will show you in just a second what I decide to do. If you would like to learn how to build this internal cabinet drawer, I will attach a link above and in the description for you. I love this feature in my blind corner. Normally people will install a turntable or a Lazy Susan, but it didn't work with the dimensions of our kitchen. However, I am extremely satisfied with how this ended up. I'm very excited to put this to use. So I figured out what to do with my wood pieces from my measurement mistake earlier when I was creating that cabinet drawer, and I think it's pretty ingenious. Let me know what you think in the comments, but let me turn the camera and show you. So I'm going to take these extra wood pieces and use them to organize my baking sheets. So you can see here I have them laid out as such. I basically wanted a design that was gonna be a little bit more open. We have different size cutting boards, muffin tins, we have a pizza thing, I mean like a ton of stuff. So to attach the wood pieces to the base, you can use a variety of things. You could use a staple gun, nail gun. I'm going to use some wood glue and some E6000 to do this project, which is probably the cheapest option. The E6000 is a permanent bond, so it should work out pretty well when I'm trying to do this. So now I just have to wait 24 to 72 hours to make sure this is secure enough to actually use and put things against. Then it should be sturdy enough when I'm storing baking sheets and other similarly shaped items. So for can organization, I actually got this really cool dispenser. It's 3-tiered, fits up to 36 cans. So I'm going to put this in my upper cabinet to organize our cans to make them fit so you don't just stack them on top of each other. Yeah, so that can organization that I was just raving about does not fit. It said it was actually supposed to be for upper cabinets, but you can sort of see it doesn't really work out so well. And it took me forever to remove this shelf because these clips are like super hard to get. You have to push all 4 of them or 2 of them basically at the same time. So when you're organizing something like a can organizer, make sure they include measurements so you can double check their measurements because they were wrong, which I'm disappointed about. Oh well, everything doesn't fit anywhere. So my next solution is putting it in this cabinet, and that cabinet goes into our bathroom. So I guess we'll sort of use it like a pantry because I really don't want to return this and I like it. But seriously, it doesn't fit anywhere. I mean, like, look at this. It can't fit in here. I could put it in there with no countertop on it, but then it's still like we couldn't get it out if we needed to move it. And then even down here on this one, it doesn't really fit that well. Let me show you. So it fits, but you lose basically all that extra space above it and behind it. So Jeff doesn't like the idea of me putting it in that cabinet, but it's gonna happen and he's gonna have to deal with it. And he's gonna watch this video and be a little irritated, but whatever, he can deal. I also got this other can organizer that's supposed to be sort of like a can dispenser. You're supposed to use it for like soda pop or for like regular canned good items. However, I'm actually going to use this as a beer dispenser for our refrigerator instead of putting it in the cabinet because it doesn't really fit that well and I don't like putting it this way. And then plus if you stack another one here, it sort of blocks it. So I'm going to use this for our refrigerator actually. So what's also really cool, it has a shelf on top here so you can store other things too, which is really nice. It really effectively uses the space. I'm going to use this can organizer in the cabinet that's going into our half bath. However, I came up with another solution because we still wanted to have immediate access to our more popular canned goods. So what I did was move this shelf a little bit lower so this really tiny thin row will fit more of our popular canned goods. And for the middle row, I wanted it tall enough so I could fit some additional shelving so I could really utilize the space effectively versus like stacking any canned goods on top of each other, so I don't have to worry about that. It might be overflow for dishes. I'm not still 100% certain, but you can see how it effectively uses the space a lot better. Here is my dry good cabinet so far. You can see most popular cans here, some gnocchi, because you do it for the gnocchi, the gnocchi, the gnocchi. And then the middle shelf has pancake batter, more of our pasta shelf, and then some condiments. Top row are more condiments again, spaghetti sauce, things that we won't need that often. It is a little bit higher, so I do need a step stool to get to those items, but thankfully I have a very tall husband. And I purchased this specific shelf as a set of 3 for $16 on Amazon, but I also have some wire shelves from Dollar Tree. If you buy those shelves for $1 each, it is a very inexpensive way to help resolve some of your storage and organization issues. And you can see how I'm using the shelf to mitigate all of these different shapes and sizes. So hopefully this gives you a good pointer on how to organize your can and dried goods. And please subscribe to the Market Made channel, especially if you want to learn more about the Market Made and learn more content like this. If you did like this video and you found it helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment below if you have any questions or need advice, and I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. And as always, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a good day.